Okay, it seems that the program is being a little too much for my computer. You may be getting bits and parts, bits and pieces of what's happening here, but I'll just start explaining because it seems like we won't be able to get very good quality at the moment on the stream. Okay, so this project is what I like to call Hivemind. And the basis for the project was to see if the AI I have could handle a large number of variables being taken in as inputs. Basically, so if you can imagine the hypothetical robot model, um, then this would be a robot that has, let's say, 200 sensors, and it has to make decisions it has to make decisions about what to do, what's the next move, based off of the information coming in from all of those sensors. But the first time I ran this version of the program, I noticed that it was, for one, it's obviously taking up a lot of CPU because to process all of those inputs every single iteration takes a lot of computing power. But but also, in general, the program was running fairly slow in how it in its progression. So even when it was able to go through a generation, there wasn't much progress on each generation, showing that the AI in its previous state was not very apt in sorting through the variables to find which ones were important for the current task at hand. And I'm sure if I gave it enough time, it would eventually sort through those different variables. But to have it sort through and create a solution or a relatively reasonable program as a best program, I would have to have it. It would have to take a lot of time, and so what I set out to do was to cut that time down. So the task for this Hivemind project is, as you can, or you may be able to see on the screen, there are 15 dots in this black square, all moving at a constant speed in a random direction, and when they hit a wall, they bounce elastically, so they they reflect the angle, and they keep that constant velocity. Um, so so the, and the so the goal of this program, which you might be able to take some shots at from the title of it, Hivemind, is for the program to direct these dots so that they don't intersect. So anytime you'll see that the score will start at 10,000 to begin a running an iteration of the child program, and when any of the dots cross over, that score goes down dramatically. This is because I made it so that the score is based off of a fitness test, which is 10,000 divided by 1 plus the number of collisions, 1 plus, because if there are no collisions, then you can't divide by 0, the program would crash, so it has to be 1 plus, but that's minor. So what happens is, so that every time a dot runs into another one, it is considered a collision, although I don't have it so that they bounce off of each other. They just run through each other. It's a lot easier to process, and it still proves the point. So what the problem is, and you may be thinking, where's all the variables here? Yeah, there's the variables for these 15 dots, but that can't be too much. But what I'm doing to simulate having a lot of sensors is I'm feeding in 200 different variables, and only 30 of them correspond to these dots on the screen. So what the program is trying to do, what the AI is trying to do, is sort through those 200 variables and give directions based off of the variables that are specific to these 15 red dots. Well, that's not necessarily what it's trying to do, but that's what I would hope it will do. What you will see when watching some of these iterations, if they are visible on the screen, is that some of these dots are not moving in straight lines, but instead are moving in more circular patterns. And this is because of, like I said earlier, the AI can give directions to change, for these dots to change directions. And in the early states, the dots, the directions that it gives tend to be constant. So you will see a lot of programs causing the dots here to just go in circles, simply. But what have I done to make this program better so that it can have more productivity? So what I did was I applied a filter to the variables. So in a normal case, without this filter, the AI has a selection of 200 different input variables to look at and make decisions based off of. But when with the filter on, the AI can only apply mutations to have decisions that are based off of variables that are changing often. So what's happening is the variables that the AI are taking in are the x and y coordinates of these dots on the screen, and so there's 200 different numbers, and 30 of them are the x and y coordinates of these 15 red dots. So the other numbers are simply just fuzz numbers, so they're just distractors, and those distractors don't change, they stay constant. So what the filter will hopefully do is, after the first few generations, possibly even, oh, actually right there you can see one of them circling and bouncing around in a circular manner. So what the filter is hopefully going to do is take the what am I looking for? Oh, so it looks at all of the variables it's trying to apply, and if those new variables, and I like I said earlier, these are only when new decisions are mutated. When these new mutations are being added into the generation, they go through a check system to see if the mutation, if the variable that it is being mutated to base decisions off of, has changed a lot recently, or has changed recently. So when it goes through this process, it then it keeps trying different mutations until it finds one where the variable matters, and that matters if it is changing constantly, because you can think of it as maybe like gravity. If gravity is a constant force, so you don't, yes, you have to apply things for gravity, but you don't have to make split seconds decisions based off of how powerful gravity is, because gravity is constant here on the planet, or relatively constant. It's I mean, as you get higher up, it does technically get slightly smaller, or slightly lesser, but it's still within our sense of feeling negligible indifference. So that's basically the concept, is that only the variables that are changing are being considered for split-second decisions, and hopefully what we will see if this program is run to exhaustion is that the AI will start to give directions so that these dots don't collide. And whether or not that will happen is up to the statistics of the AI, and I will be running this off screen a little bit, considering how slow it runs already. But I will update the live stream in the next stream on the progress of this program. But that's basically the project I've been working on at the moment, and with that I will play a short ad and then move on to the bulk of this stream, which I will be talking about. I'll be talking about coding in general and the basic concepts behind it, because